Hey guys, this is TheEnder. Welcome back. This is the final match from the Sonic All-Stars tournament. This is Group B. Once again, final match, Killer versus Movie. So, in their first set, Killer played against Mong. Mong beat Killer, Mong beat Movie, Mong advanced. And in this set, this is Killer won the loser match, and so now he gets to play Movie for the final spot out of the group. And so they haven't played each other yet, but we did see Movie put up a really strong performance in a PVZ versus Quanro. So, let's see. Is Killer just another Zerg, or has he got some mad skills that Quanro doesn't have? So this is also a best of one. So the tournament is, it's slightly different than a lot of the ones you're seeing. So the first match was a best of three. The winners and losers matches were a best of one, and then this final match is also a best of one. So it's slightly different, but it's still pretty fair. You can still lose a match, or even or not just a match. You can lose a game, you can lose a match, and if you still win your other games, you can still advance. So you get your second chance, which is always nice. Alright, so the map appears to be Fighting Spirit. Oh, what have we here? Movie's going for a gateway. And since the probe's there, I'm guessing it's going to be two gateways. So this is not standard. Usually you go for the forge into expansion. But we've got two gateways. And if you look at the positioning, they're put in a pretty nice position. They're not proxied in the middle of the map to make it really easy to get the troops out faster and closer to Killer's base. They're walling off the natural, so that if this attack doesn't go well, that the Zergling counterattack won't kill him. Instead, all he has to do is put a single zealot in between the two gateways to block, and then he can put up a forge and get a single cannon behind it, and it'll hold really well. So I'm not entirely sure what the exact counter that you're supposed to do versus this, but I think Killer's going to be okay, because it looks like he went for something like an overpool into expansion. So he's going to have Zerglings out in plenty of time. But that being said, I want to say you're supposed to actually 12 hatch against this. And you say that sounds weird. Why would you go for such an economic opening versus this type of aggression? And I think the point is, because you have to make continuous Zerglings to hold off the Zealots, economically speaking, you're going to fall behind because you won't be able to make drones. So instead you need that second hatchery as soon as possible. So number one, you can get the maximum amount of larvae, and number two, so that you have enough creeps that you can build a sunken colony to help yourself hold. Okay, now that's weird. That's a really cool position to hide a zealot, and when I say hide, I mean he's really just tucking it into a corner so that it can't get surrounded. But that being said, of course the Overlord saw it and knows it's going to be coming in to annoy him. But it was a very interesting way of allowing it to get past the Zerglings. Okay, so 3 Zerglings were left behind to defend against that Zealot. I don't think that's enough. My recollection is you need 4 Zerglings to kill a Zealot. Alright, so yeah, it looks like he does have 4. Plus he's bringing home his others. So the Zealot killed 2 Lings. The remaining 2 Lings are going to chase it away. The scouting probe was killed. So I think this is a pretty decent position for Killer right now. Of course, he can't over-drone, or, because there are still 2 gateways up, he could still be early annoying and do some significant drone damage. But I think Killer's in a good spot, since his natural is taken. He's on 2 hatches, and Movie's only just now getting down his second Nexus. Ooh, and you see all the Zerglings and all the Zealots. Yeah, those Zealots aren't going to win. I mean, of course, if there was Zergling speed, then it would be even worse. And Movie is doing a pretty good job microing those Zealots, doing one shot and then running and focusing down the weakened Zerglings, but he's still going to lose them. I guess he's just buying time right now. When I say buying time, because once again, he has to have that cannon up, he has to have the holes blocked. Otherwise, the Zerglings run by and it's an instant game over. And there are a significant amount of Zerglings out. However, no Zergling speed just yet, so that's why it's taking them a while to take out the Zealots, and why there hasn't been a crazy counterattack. So yeah, Movie is, I would say, is really far behind. I'm not sure if he even has much gas yet. We saw the Forge wasn't spinning for +1 attack, which is always something that Protoss want. We actually see a really fast Hydra Den from Killer, which is, I think, a really good idea. Because once again, Movie's tech is going to be really slowed down. So, because that there's definitely going to be no High Templar to storm. Reavers are going to be significantly longer before they come out. And so, yeah, he's going to get those 2 gateways at the front for free just by using the Hydras and their ranged attacks. And Movie's going to be forced to make lots of cannons, which once again is, just going to slow his economy down even further. So, while this is happening, Killer's going to take his 3rd base at the 3 o'clock position. And that's consistent with what you do when you do Hydra play. Usually, if you're going to do a regular, like Turtle Zerg and, early game, just defending whatever the Protoss sends at you, you're going to take the natural to one of the other spawn positions. So in this case, it would be the natural base at the top left or bottom right. And that gives you the easy 4th base. But instead, since he's going for Hydras, Killer wants to take a closer by 3rd base. And that's just going to mean that, because he's not going to have the Scourge to protect his Overlords from the Corsairs, he really needs to keep Hydras at every base. And of course, if he takes that 3rd base, it's going to be a whole lot closer to his base and a whole lot easier for him to protect it than if he took one of the corner bases. Alright, so we have cannons down, lots of cannons. And the funny part is, Movie doesn't even have a gateway to... so he's got his Temple Archives, but he has no gateways. And that's just because, he had the 2 gateways at the front, and they got taken out by the Hydras. So, once he takes those out, of course, Killer doesn't want to continue making all these Hydralisks, because he's not actually going to push in and try to kill Movie with this attack. He just wants to get his economy going behind it. But Movie, he stopped making a crazy amount of cannons, mainly because he has that Corsair out and he sees the reinforcements from Killer, or should I say the lack of reinforcements. So he knows it's not all in, and Killer's not going all in, so we get more of an opportunity to see what each player is going to do as they build up. So of course I would say advantage Killer as of this point, but once again, we're just getting pushed more towards the late game situation where anything can happen. And as we saw versus Quanro, Movie can just do amazing things with Psy Storms. So I'd say never count him out. Alright, so it looks like Killer is going to go home with his Hydralisks. Maybe it's because of the Corsair, possibly because he thinks there's going to be some kind of a DT appearing magically somewhere to ruin his day. Sonic's making a big deal of a drone at the 3rd base, which appears to be either stuck or just not mining. Which of course, that's a lot of Corsairs, up to 4 Corsairs now. Overlord with 5 HP barely lives. But, yep, that drone is still there. Okay, so we have a shuttle from Movie. It might be a storm drop, but I think that's a really questionable decision considering last I saw he only had 1 gateway. He's probably got more than that by now, but he's still got so few units and probably very few Templar. Okay, so it's a Dark Templar, yeah, and that's completely normal. with all those Corsairs running around and hunting overlords. You know, it's nice to have a Dark Templar on the map to, you know, be annoying and kill Zerglings. Scourge. Yeah. Bye-bye shuttle. Alright, so Killer's in a great spot. He's hitting up a pretty quick hive because he's getting the Queen's Nest down, and I really don't think he's going for Queens. But he's got his 3 bases. I mean, if I were him, I'd be thinking about a 4th by now. Yeah, Movie's already taken his 3rd, and you don't want to be on the same number of bases now that Movie's going to have, you know, good tech out. He already made Templar tech, and he's got the Robo Bay. Looks like Speed Overlord just for Killer. Probably not drops. But of course, you know, actually, I might take that back. That might be drops. The only reason I'm saying that is you usually don't see that many overlords, you know, conglomerating in one position with speed. That was odd. Oh, and that's going to be super annoying. So there's a Dark Templar on the ramp blocking, and without detection, Hydras can't get by it. So Killer might be supply blocked right now. He probably lost all 5 of those overlords at the bottom right. So Killer's making some really questionable decisions right now. He wanted to attack the 9 o'clock, which is reasonable, but he didn't have an overlord, he didn't have detection, so first he tried to run up a ramp, and there was a DT there, so in addition to letting the DT hit him for free, you know, the cannons were firing at all these guys because cannons were outranging the Hydras, and then he went around the back, which means he's not going to be able to retreat, and then he got stormed on the ramp. That's really questionable. And of course, now that Movie sees Killer's committing all his army to this attack that may get the 3rd base, he's moving in, and the 3rd base gets saved. So this is just really questionable decision making by Killer. Although the Hero Lurker might get the base. Oh, there's no observer. Alright. So those 2 Hero Lurkers made it possibly worth it. Oh. What? What is that Overlord doing? Oh, he's going to give vision to the DT. Alright. So Movie scouting around with those zealots. It looks like he's slightly surprised that there's no 4th base from Killer yet, which I was surprised at too. More Lurkers for Killer, and Hive should be long done by now, since we saw it upgrading before. That looks like a 4th base for Killer. Ooh, now that is interesting. So those are all non-speed upgraded Zerglings, and the only reason they're there probably is because that's where the rally point is. So he's got this Hive tech, and he's decided to switch into Zerglings, which I really like going for Zerglings once you have a Hive. You can get that adrenal gland, and they're just so devastating versus, you know, literally anything. Of course, since that's his rally point, you know, it's so hard to control Zerg units that, you know, you can only hold 12 in a group, so he's got them all rallied out past the bridge, so that it's slightly easier to control them. They won't get clumped up in his natural. Alright, Movie's 3rd base has been re-established, and Killer's 4th base is going to be up pretty soon. Neither player is looking to attack. Movie's pretty far behind, so he doesn't want to attack, and considering how badly Killer's last attack went, he's waiting for a little while too. So the natural Movie's reasonably well defended, but now that the Hive is out, there's going to be Defilers, I would say, really soon. At which point, you know, 2 Dark Swarms and all those cannons go down pretty much for free, since they don't do any damage under Dark Swarm. And the entire Zerg army just decides to retreat because there were no overlords. And overlords arrived, and the army still decides to retreat. I'm not sure what's going on. So Nidus Canal going down to the 4th base, and that'll allow for instantaneous reinforcement. Chances are Killer will still throw down several Sunkens on each side so that the Nidus Canal does not get, sniped before the units come out. And that one drone is still not working. Very nice hit. So we've got a 2 Zealot, 1 High Templar drop in the main. I can only guess that was a mistake. And by mistake, I assume there was a 2nd Templar in that shuttle that never dropped out before the shuttle got scourged. It was a nice idea, trying to storm at the bottom of the ramp. But it was a little bit too early, even though that was, the only time that the Templar had before he died. Rather surprised I haven't seen any Defilers yet. I mean, you got the Hive. Why else would Killer get a... Oh, lost another shuttle. Once again, why would Killer get a Hive if he didn't intend to get, Hive tech? I mean, he's nowhere near getting his +3 armor or attack. I mean, he got Niduses, but those are really not worth it to get a Queen's Nest and a Hive just to get a Nidus Canal or 2. So I'm wondering, there's no Ultralists for sure. There should be Defilers, I just haven't seen them. So, what's going on?
내려와요. 자, 저걸링과 히드라 이게 또 빨간색이기 때문에 쌉싸 먹을 때 뭡니까? 고추장이죠. 맞습니다. 고추장처럼 싸먹는 거거든요. 노란색 같은 경우는 겨자죠.
Yeah, it doesn't. Looks like they still don't have the crack upgrade. Oh, that was beautiful. Same thing Movie did in this game versus Quan. He storms and runs a shuttle through the storm to kill Scourge that were chasing it. Unfortunately, only got 1 Templar out of there. That's the money Templar. 14 kills. He emptied that entire base single-handedly. A single Zergling comes in to finish him off. Man, that base entirely emptied. 2 storms. Alright, so this is a nice idea from Killer, attacking both sides on this Movie's base. That being said, he's going up ramps, and they're narrow ramps, so these storms are just devastating. And then on the right side, once again, very suboptimal. So Hydra was fighting from the low ground. Of course, on the low ground, ranged units have a 50% hit chance, so they can just completely miss stuff on the high ground like those Dragoons. Alright, so there's the Nidus at the 4th base for the Zerg. No Sunkens, like I said he should probably make to give that Nidus some more time. Crack upgrade is definitely done. I think Zergling's speed is. So there is one lurker that was doing really nice against those Zealots at the 12 o'clock base. No, all the drones, all those drones. No! Oh, no! Oh my god. 18 kills on that Templar and they're all drones. Oh man. So I did see 4 storms, so that Templar probably doesn't have enough energy for another one. Yeah, 4 storms between those 2 Templar. Oh man, seriously. The movie is just on the ball with these storm drops. And I mean, even that being said, Killer's been doing a good job of sniping shuttles. I mean, I've seen him literally take out, 4 shuttles with just chasing them after the Scourge, even after they only got a single drop down. But Movie keep on going with them, and he's doing so well. Man, so I don't know what he needs to do. Maybe he needs to put some Scourge on the the perimeter of those bases. so the shuttles can't come in. But alright, so here's an engagement in the middle. Looks like it's going very poorly for Killer. He's got some lurkers down on the ground, and there's only one observer. But since Killer's forces were coming in piecemeal, you know, only a few units at a time, and they were pretty good size storms, those Zerglings were really not getting any damage off on the Protoss. So I'm really getting worried for Killer here. It looks like he's pretty much given up his entire advantage that he had in the early game. Finally saw a Defiler out, and it did have Consume already done, and that's going to help a little bit, but I want to say it's too late. I mean, so yeah, I mean, Dark Swarm will do decently. Oh, that was a nice play. Oh, and he got the shuttle. Alright, next time I'm going to be ready for those plagues. I'm going to yell it out. But, oh man, storms on clumped up lurkers. It's lots of storms. Storms everywhere. Storms for you. Storms for you. Oh man. Storms everywhere. Storm's his own observer. But yeah, I mean, when you have this many storms out, this many Archons, Plague is really just not going to do anywhere near as good as it could. And then once you get up to that Archon Zealot composition, even the Dark Swarm isn't going to do very much. Oh, and because of the rally point, you know, Protoss army's on top of the rally point, so now he's just losing more men for free. Oh, Storm on top of the Nidus. Oh, this is looking. Oh man, Killer's getting taken to school by movie here. That Nidus is about to go down. Alright, Nidus is gone, no more reinforcements. This is... I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if Killer taps out. I cannot believe this. I mean, he had such a good head start due to the early game, and then movie just completely crushed him late game. Oh, another storm drop. Another storm drop. So there's the, what? Right, so when you do, you know, drops like this as Protoss, it's really standard to drop a Zealot first, and the reason is you want things like Sunken Colonies to target the other than Templar or other than Reaver first. So of course you drop a military unit first, you know, any unit that has a basic attack, like a Dragoon or a Zealot. And so then, any type of static defense will focus them down first. And in the extra, you know, 2 seconds that you have while the static defense or army is attacking that unit, then you drop in your expensive unit that you really only need like 1 or 2 shots off of, like, you know, like your Templar or your Reaver. So that's what was happening. It was just slightly surprising to see that there was, you know, 3 Zealots dropped before the 1 Templar. Because, I mean, honestly, you only need 1 or 2. And when I say 2, I mean, you really only need just 1. You can cast Storm really fast, and cast a second one, you know, before you die. Man, the storms have been spot on. And Killer really just seems to have a problem with, you know, guarding against these drops. Oh man, Archon with like 30 kills. So yeah, Killer's doing good work at this base. You know, he's got the crack upgrade on the Zerglings, and he focuses it down. That Nexus, oh man, those storms are just so spot on. Will he get it? Will he get it? Will he get it? Yes, that one Zergling. But I mean, it's game over. So I mean, Killer has, you know, he's mined out in his main. He's lost his natural. He's losing his third. I can't see the 12 o'clock base, but it really doesn't look like there's a bunch of probes there. So, you know, so what if he kills Movie's fourth? Movie's still on the 9 o'clock base, and he has a more significant army. I mean, that's... When it comes down to energy units, you know, those units that you don't have to... Yeah, so energy units, you know, they can be used without dying. Oh, more storms. No, it's a Reaver this time. Oh, man. Yeah, it's, wow, that's a lot of Sunkens in the main. Oh, yep. Yes, drones, attack the Reaver, that will help you. No! Oh, man. It's like, I can tell that's just going to go so badly. The drones stack up right next to the Reaver. It's like, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking? Well, so Killer doesn't want to get knocked out of the tournament, so he's trying. But if I were to guess, I would say he's got about 30 supply, and I would say Movie's got maybe 70 supply. It's just not going to happen, man. Yes, Zerglings are super cost efficient, and you appear to have protected your tech in your main base by making Sunkens, but you're not mining, you have no army. Alright, fine, you have 4 lurkers and 2 Hydralists. That's not really an army. You never know, these are pro gamers, they can do amazing things with very few units. I recently saw a replay from, I don't even remember who it was. Was it Boxer? But anyways, it came down to this late game, just crazy thing. And somehow or another he beat a 3-base Protoss pretty much just by using, 1 base worth of vultures with mines. And it was one of those, how in the world do you do this? But, it's a pro gamer. Back in the day, they used to practice so much and do such amazing things. Maybe he can still pull it out. I just can't see it happening. I know I could never do it. That shuttle might actually have been empty. You just wanted to prevent mining and do a little harassment without actually committing any troops. So Zerglings, a lot of Zerglings catching that Templar. And since Movie's 4th base is dead, man, this is closer than I realized. So Movie's gonna mine out his 3rd base, like really, really soon. And for some strange reason, he keeps on committing like 2 or 3 units to go do on these missions. And of course, in small numbers, Zerg units are just super, super cost efficient versus Protoss units. I mean, super efficient. Oh man, but if he gets those drones, there's no money to rebuild them. Oh, there it is. There's the Templar. There was actually one. Oh man, don't. Oh shoot. Those probes, drones, whatever. They got so close to. He's coming back. He's coming back. Oh, this could be game. If he can storm those drones, that's. Oh, storm is a little bit late. He only gets 1 drone. Did he pick it up? I think he picked it up. So he's still got at least 1 Templar in that shuttle. So here's another questionable decision made by Killer. So he's got 3 drones in his main base mining gas on a depleted geyser. So, I mean, it's depleted. It's very, very worthless. I mean, I would actually transfer those drones to those 2 mineral patches. True, they probably only have like 50 minerals each. But I'd really go for those minerals rather than go for the gas since it's depleted. I mean, you only get, 2 gas per trip on a depleted geyser. Alright, so Movie's pushing out. He thinks he has it. I mean, if he manages to catch these Zerglings with a good storm, I mean, the Zerglings are just going to melt. And if he manages to push Killer all the way back to the ramp, once again, that's going to make storming a whole lot easier. So it looks like some Zerglings went in and tried to snipe some Templar. They might have gotten them. Still 3 Templar left and at least 1 Reaver. Pretty high number of Zealots, but there's only a single Observer. So if there's a Lurker and he's able to... Oh, 2 Reavers. Oh, that's... Just so good. Alright, but Zerglings are coming in from behind. They're targeting the Reavers. But there's a storm. Okay, he's targeting... Reavers got picked up. Are they still alive? One's still alive. Alright, 1 Reaver got taken out. 2 Templar left. And an Archon. I don't see any Zerg units. Alright, so we've got no Zerg units and no mining. Well, there might be a dozen lings coming in from the bottom. But there's just so little. And he's not mined. But Movie's mined out too. Movie is mined out too. Are we actually going to see drones coming into the fight? This is... Oh man. If Killer takes this fight and scouts the top left, oh my god. Killer held, and he's still got a hatchery there. So there's a single Reaver and like 10 probes, and Killer scouted it. Oh my god. Is Killer gonna do it? No, no, no. That's impossible. Oh. So the Reaver's got 11 kills, but he's gonna die. Yes! Oh, but he can... 3 Zerglings versus 2 Archons and... Okay. Oh man, it's so close. No! Oh, come on, man. So Killer GG's after he sees the reinforcements. I really wanted him to fight that. He still had some drones. He could have microed his heart out with those Hydras, and maybe he could have picked him off. I don't know. That was such a really good game, down to the wire. I could not believe how close Killer made that. 30-minute game. Alright, so that was a really strong showing from Killer. Sadly, he's not going to advance from the round of 16, but Movie is. And I'm pretty excited about that. Movie showed some great play. I mean, he was super far behind after that opening, and he brought it back. And his defense was, you know, suboptimal, but he still won it in the end. So good game, GG. And this is TheEnder signing off.